Happy 2nd of December. Number 2. It's nearly open number 19. There's no chocolate in here. Oh, actually, can't even. Oh, here we go. But there is a beautiful picture of a church, which beats chocolate, don't you think? So, today, well, last night I left you with a verse from Isaiah. It's encouraged me to think about God having a plan, because it was a prophecy about Jesus. So I'll just remind you of the verse. It was, "But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed," which is a great verse. In Matthew, Matthew actually quotes this verse to say Jesus was healing people and he was fulfilling the prophecy in Isaiah. And that got me thinking how many prophecies there are in the Old Testament about the birth of Jesus and the life and the death of Jesus. And I just thought, actually looking at those prophecies, it's always really exciting, and I encourage you to go and have a look at some of them. But it makes me think, wow, God has always had a plan from the very beginning, and the plan is so detailed, it's so detailed to an extraordinary degree. Does that make sense? That if he can do that, if he can rescue me and the entire world, he could do anything. Like, why am I worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow? Why am I worrying about, I don't know, whatever, what's going on in my life? Because do you see what I'm trying to say here? Anyway, so I'm going to just run through a few of those prophecies. Yeah, so from the very beginning, we have in Genesis, it talks about the Messiah being born of a woman to crush the serpent's head. And then we can see in Matthew and Galatians. So I'll write these down in the description so you can have a little look. And the Messiah has to be born to a virgin in Isaiah, and then we see that fulfilled in Luke and Matthew. We have the Messiah, a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, and King of David. That's also in Genesis and Samuel, and then fulfilled Matthew and Luke. That the Messiah will be born in Bethlehem, which is amazing because had that Roman census not taken place, Mary wouldn't have been travelling expecting the baby as she was to Bethlehem. So the detail, yeah, so anyway, that's in Micah and fulfilled Matthew and Luke. The Messiah bringing salvation to be a light to the Gentiles, we see that in Isaiah, and then you can see that in the New Testament in Luke and Matthew. Then we have Jesus healing and performing miracles, and we've looked at that one yesterday, and that's what I said at the start. So in Isaiah, and then Matthew talks about that, and John as well. And then also the betrayal, so how Jesus was going to be betrayed by somebody close to him, and how he'd be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver, like really quite detailed things. We can see that prophesied in the Psalms and Zechariah, and then in the New Testament fulfilled in Matthew and Mark. And then the details of the crucifixion as well. We see that in Psalms, Zechariah, and then fulfilled in John and Luke. And even buried in a rich man's tomb as well in Isaiah, and then fulfilled Matthew and Mark. Yeah, it's amazing. I think that's really exciting. So just to encourage you, when things look like they're a complete mess and a total disaster, and I'm sure the enemy was like, yes, like when things were going wrong, but God's actually, his plan A was for Jesus to come and die and be resurrected and bring us back into relationship with him. And so even in the face of things going wrong, we can say, God has a plan, and I trust God because I've given my life to him, he is in control, he has the steering wheel, and I'm following the instructions that he tells me to do. I'm committing everything to him, I'm trusting in him, you know. So there we go, that's my encouragement for today. Be blessed.